allow this time. Okay, I'm reading. It says setting up for your custom streaming service.
Yep, and we're live.
Okay, welcome back to the Crypto Hulk Show, everybody. Let me know if you're there. Somebody say, Crypto Hulk, I can hear you. Crypto Hulk, I can see you. So somebody go ahead and type that in, and we will get going here. Hello, everyone. Can you see me and hear me? We hear you. I don't know if they can see me or not.
They can see it's live.
Okay. All righty. Welcome back, everybody, to the Caleb Brown Crypto Hulk Show. We have a crypto broker here. This is for brand new people. Most everybody here knows what we're doing, but for brand new people, I'm always have to give a little disclaimer. Caleb Brown provides custody for your crypto. So when you go there and buy it, they protect it with something called Fireblocks. Now, Fireblocks is a solution, from what I understand, of about at least the top 2,400 banks and institutions in the world. The top ones utilize Fireblock solution to protect their crypto. Now, Fireblocks deals with institutional companies. Well, you and me are retail. What we are, in my opinion, is lucky to have Caleb and Brown work with us because we're not millionaires and billionaires yet. And I heard about them a long time ago, about a year ago. And I decided to, they contacted me actually, and I had you guys join them. We gave them a test drive for about 5 weeks or something like that. Overwhelming response. Everybody loved Caleb Brown. So I contacted them and said, hey, you know what? I think I will put my energies into working with you guys and get crypto from Caleb Brown, have you guys hold it. So that's what I did. And here we are today. What they're going to do is for brand new people is answer questions. Why do we have Caleb Brown? Why this? Why that? So whatever kind of questions, maybe crypto questions, what's going on in the market? Why is this? Why is that? We'll try to our best between the both of us answer your questions. And what I'm going to do now is check in on the comments, and I'll let Jim say a little something, and then we'll just kind of see where the question and answer goes from there, or if there's latest news, we can discuss that. So let me check the comment section, and I'll have Jim go ahead and say a little words here.
Yeah, firstly, thanks for having me on again, Hulk. It's always great to come back and speak to everyone in the community. As Crypto Hulk said, look, we're a cryptocurrency brokerage, so it is quite different and unique to probably the crypto exchanges that you may have used in the past. And the key difference is that we actually provide a personalized white glove service where you actually have someone that you can speak to about your portfolio, about what's happening in the market. A lot of what we do is actually trying to educate our clients on what they're actually buying to ensure that over the long term, they succeed and they get great financial results through their crypto investments. Because look, if you're going to put your hard-earned money into this asset class and one that is quite volatile, it's important to be as informed as possible. So as Hulk said, not only do we look after our clients with a proper brokerage model where you'll get your own dedicated broker, we actually help with other things like custody. So if you're not too confident using your own hardware wallet, I'd recommend not holding your crypto on an exchange. You can use our custody solution that's institutional grade and developed by Fireblocks. We also pull liquidity in a different way. We also handle on-ramping and off-ramping in a different way as well to ultimately give you the best benefit. As Hulk said as well, we work with a lot of institutions, but we want to really make this an institutional grade service, but make it accessible to all and accessible to retail. So, we have very little limits or limitations on our portal and service in terms of what you can do with us. But ultimately, that's really what we do. And we've been around since 2016, so we've survived bear markets, bull markets, and we're a very operationally mature business. So we've worked really closely, as Hulk said, with this community for a long time now. I know a lot of you that are on this live stream have probably heard me give this kind of pitch before. But if you are that's someone that's hearing about us for the first time, or maybe you're new to crypto in general, I'd highly recommend at least checking out Caleb and Brown because it's completely free to make an account. And it's a service that we're very much expanding that started in a small little city in Melbourne that's now very much operational around the world, especially within the US, which is our main target market. So happy to answer any questions. Also happy to speak about the market today because it was a pretty rough morning for me, waking up and seeing what happened in the crypto markets, but also what happened with gold and silver. So we can have this session be interactive around Caleb and Brown, but also happy to talk about the markets in general as well.
Okay, somebody asked a question. Can you move crypto from a cold wallet onto your platform, Caleb Brown?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's quite easy to move assets from a cold wallet or even your hot wallet, or even another exchange into Caleb and Brown. So as long as we list the asset. Now, we list over 250 different assets. It's probably likely that the asset you're holding in your cold wallet we list. So you'll be able to go through that process on your Caleb and Brown portal. You'll have the wallet address, and it'll be just as simple as moving that from your cold wallet to your Caleb and Brown wallet. Now, we can help with that. So if you ever have any issues, that's the benefit of having your broker and a 24/7 support team. You can always call us up if you're not 100% sure. But yeah, that's definitely doable and something that we recommend having diversity when it comes to your custody options. So don't have all your eggs in one basket.
Um, for a newer person, let me ask a question because sometimes people might not want, I don't know if they don't want to ask the question, but let's talk about Fireblocks for a minute. Why is Fireblocks an important part of this mix? Tell us about what you know about Fireblocks.
Yeah, so I think the important element of our custody solution is just that, look, there are a lot of nefarious actors out there and people that are looking to scam people. And unfortunately, we've seen that only increase as this space has gotten more mature. So we've seen a lot of people come to us, unfortunately, that have had lost money in the past. And the main reason they're losing that money is because they're being socially engineered. So they're giving up their email, they may be giving up their mobile number or unfortunately, they don't really know how to practice good diligence when it comes to security in your own wallets. So probably about 4 or 5 years ago, we decided, you know what, we have a lot of clients that are getting compromised by custody themselves. Why don't we offer a solution that is tight-knit, secures client assets, essentially ensures that you can hold your assets and actually preserve your wealth, and for our clients, make something that's stress-free. So we've developed our custody solution through Fireblocks. And so, as Hulk said, Fireblocks is the preeminent custody solution provider in this space. They work with the largest banks around the world. Some of the largest digital asset businesses, including ourselves, work closely with them. But it's only as good as the solution that you have in front of you. So they have an amazing digital asset custody solution, but then we've built on top of that. And so we've put a whole bunch of internal protocols, a whole range of transaction authorization protocols in place to ensure that, hey, if you do a withdrawal request through Caleb and Brown, we have a broker that calls you, confirms who you are, asks your security questions, even does things like passwords and stuff like that. Because ultimately, a lot of the time, it's not necessarily the technology that gets compromised, it's actually the individual themselves. So we've put a whole range of processes in place on top of the custody solution to ensure that if you want to custody with us, we're not going to charge you a fee for it, but ultimately you have that peace of mind. And so, look, with us, we hold all client assets on a one-for-one basis. And that's really rare in crypto because usually, as we've seen on exchanges in the past, and I've suffered this with, say, FTX, when you deposit on an exchange, usually they don't have those assets readily available. Whereas on our end, if all of our clients decide to withdraw tomorrow, we have all that capital there. So we can process those withdrawals, which is great for you because it gives you the peace of mind that, hey, if and when I want to withdraw, I can. Now we'll go through the security process to make sure it's actually you, but it gives you the peace of mind that your assets are actually where you've custodied them, which unfortunately isn't usually the norm in crypto and when you work with crypto businesses. So happy to go into more details around how the custody actually works, but that's just a bit of an overview of how we help our clients with custody.
Kayak Z has a question. It says, please explain the 1099 DA tax form that Caleb Brown will start sending out next week.
Yeah, so this is a recent development, and unfortunately, it's not just a Caleb and Brown specific thing. It's actually a requirement for all US businesses now that operate in the digital asset space. So, unfortunately, moving forward, that we will need to report transactions that our US clients are conducting to the IRS. Again, this isn't a decision that we've made. This is very much if we want to continue to legally operate and have our licenses within the US that we have to do. And this is something that all crypto businesses moving forward will do. So that form will be sent out that will essentially give us the consent to provide that information to the tax authority. Again, it's unfortunately one of those things that as this space becomes more mature and as the government becomes more aware of crypto and supportive of it, sometimes we get legislation and requirements like this that as a business we have to uphold to. So if you have any questions about it, please feel free to reach out to your broker. We have sent out comms about that recently, and it's something that unfortunately under the Trump administration they've pushed ahead with, and so as a business we have to comply with.
That's kind of interesting. I told you, everybody, there's good and bad, okay? And with high priced crypto, that's what everybody wants. I want to be rich. I want to do this, but then nobody wants to pay tax. So you want crypto to be legitimate, right? I do. You want all the banks to use crypto, right? I do. You want protection so that we don't have rug pulls like FTX exchange. I do. We want all these things. And then eventually we want to have millions of dollars from crypto. Well, when you have regulated products that they're using to process transactions and moving money around the world and all that, there's tax. And that's how it goes. So, I always told everybody, be careful what you wish for. I want this crypto prices to go up. I don't care. Well, then guess what? Guess what comes along with that? A business behavior. If you're buying and selling, hey, some of these might be securities one day. You never know. So then the SEC is going to get involved. Look, the crypto space is maturing. This is what's happening. We've got to get the businesses, the governments, the corporations and all that to dump trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions into crypto. We need all the stuff tokenized. And guess what? Tax is just how it is. So that's what's happening is this crypto space is moving forward. They're now actually acknowledging these things. Before, nobody acknowledged them. Now they are. If you ever want to see XRP to hit more than $2, then you got to have all the banks working at it and all the businesses buying this and letting it be a bridge currency and doing its thing and all the other cryptos wormhole and stuff. So that's what's going on. Let me check some comments.
Yeah, so I see a comment. I'm happy to jump in and answer this one. So the comment, just for anyone that's on the live stream or listening after the fact, the question is, once the asset is on your platform, would we, the client, own it, or is it just a derivative? So that's a good question. Firstly, it's almost two questions in one. The first one is it a derivative or is it the actual asset? That is quite plainly, you own the asset. So if you move, say, Bitcoin from your cold wallet to Caleb Brown, you are holding Bitcoin with us. We don't work in derivatives. We don't work in manufactured products or what have you, or I don't even know what else, essentially. If you own the asset with us, we only work in cryptocurrency. So if you're holding 1,000 XRP with us, that's not a derivative product of XRP. You literally hold the XRP in a vault with us. So I want to make that clear because it's not derivatives. We hold the specific asset themselves. And then the second part of it is, would we own the asset? And the answer is yes to that as well. And again, this is something that's a little different and unique from a lot of exchanges out there. And again, I'll keep coming back to the FTX example because I had to go through a creditor claim to get my crypto back when that business went under. So I want to be really clear about this. With Caleb and Brown, you are the beneficial owner of the assets that you hold with us. So yes, we're custodying them, but we're custodying them on your behalf. So we're not the beneficial owner of them. the client is the beneficial owner. So in legal speak, we actually hold them on trust and you're the beneficial owner of those assets. So what that means is, say Caleb and Brown went bankrupt tomorrow. It's not going to happen. We're a very healthy business. But in that hypothetical world that it did, the creditors and the bankruptcy proceeders and whoever else would handle that matter would not be able to claim the client assets because they don't form part of the company's assets. They're separate things. So in that scenario, if we went under, the first thing that would happen is we would have to return those assets, those crypto assets that we custody for clients, back to their rightful owners, which are you. So that is really important, and hopefully that will give you peace of mind because, again, as I mentioned, when FTX crashed, if you looked into the fine print of their terms and conditions, they were actually the owners of the assets once you stored them with them, which is why I personally had to go through a creditor claim, which took multiple years to get it back. So again, that should give you peace of mind around using that custody service. You're still the owner of them. Your assets don't move without your authority and without your direction. So hopefully that answers the question and gives you a bit more peace of mind.
Jim, I'd like to give an example. It might sound kind of silly, but this will be a very simple example. So imagine a storage facility. Let's say you've got an old bicycle and some boxes and stuff, and you want to take it to a local, let's say you live in a one-bedroom apartment, you don't got any room. So you got a bunch of stuff you want to put in a storage facility, right? Okay. So you go down to your local storage facility, and you pay them 20 to 40 bucks a month for a small little place. And we'll call that small little storage facility Fireblocks, okay? One of the strongest, actually the strongest storage facility in the world. So you get your stuff and you put your stuff into Fireblock storage facility. The good part is we don't have to pay a storage fee because that's called Caleb Brown. So it'll be the Caleb Brown storage facility. It's free, and you have the world's best storage unit called Fireblocks, and they simply store your crypto in their storage facility. It's yours. Then when you're done or whatever you want to cash out, then you just claim your property and take it. So that's kind of what Caleb Brown does. They provide a storage facility and you actually get it for free. It's the world's best. It's called Fireblocks. So that's kind of like the illustration I give to some people that ask me about Caleb Brown and Fireblocks. It's a storage facility of the world's best. So that's basically it's your stuff. Like they store it and they lock it up and put the key on it and walk away. That's what it is. Your stuff's in the storage locker called Fireblocks. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I think, look, that's a great analogy, Hulk. I think everyone gets quite caught up in this custody solution versus this one, and there's obviously going to be questions around how we do custody, and we're more than willing to answer them because we're very confident in the custody solution we have. But I want to stress that we don't force our clients to use our custody solution. It's free of charge, and that's something that we provide for our clients because we think that's the standard and the way it should be. But if you're not comfortable using our custody solution, that's fine. That's where it's great to have your own hardware wallet as well. We've just unfortunately found, and we work with clients every day that don't quite know how to protect their assets in a hardware wallet, or a little unsure, or maybe they're going traveling and they don't want to leave that wallet in their house unattended. So that's where it's just the benefit of having this as an option. Again, we don't require you to move all of your crypto with us. In fact, if I speak from personal circumstance, I hold a large portion of my crypto network to Caleb Brown, but I still hold a portion in my own hardware wallet. So it's really up to you and your own risk profile. I would say if you're new to this space, it's far more safe for you at the least at the beginning to custody with us, to see how it works, and then train and skill yourself up on how to actually custody yourself if that's the route you want to go down. So look, for us, it's really up to you as the client. We just want to offer it to you because we think it's the kind of service that everyone in the crypto space should have.
Next question. Next question is from Mark. He asks, "Do you think Caleb Brown will ever carry Bank Social?"
I think we had Bank Social question last week.
Yeah.
I would need to look into the tokenomics of it. I believe that there was some sort of connection potentially between Bank Social and maybe HBAR, or maybe I'm thinking of another asset. But look, we can look into any asset that you guys would like us to list. You can reach out to your broker. Just please provide the ticker and potentially even just like the tokenomics that's usually found on, say, CoinGecko or one of these aggregators. And we'll go through the process of seeing whether we can list it. So just for reference, our compliance team, our operations team, and our legal team do quite a thorough review of every token that we list. We do an overall legal review because, as Hulk mentioned before, some assets are deemed securities, which for us we can't list, and some aren't. So there's a whole range of processes that we'll go through to see whether we can list something. But please reach out to your broker. I'll put the ticker into the chat here and I can pass it on. And we'll never say no to doing our due diligence. We might unfortunately have to say no to listing it this time. But as a great example, Canton was one that was listed and mentioned quite early by Hulk and people in this chat. And we got on the front foot. We were able to list it and it's performed quite well for a lot of people. So please feel free to reach out if you've ever got a token you want us to list. And we'll go through the process of seeing whether we can list it.
Ron Weber has been with Caleb Brown for 3 years. Great service. Never had any issues. I keep my big crypto bags at Caleb and Brown.
Thanks so much. And yeah, look, that's quite common. We have a lot of clients that have been with us for 4, 5, even 6 years. And we've had a lot of clients that have been with us since the last bull run of 2021 and have done very well and have continued to have the same broker throughout. And so that's really what we're all about and what we love with working with our clients is that we build long-term sustainable relationships. And part of that is a lot of the reasoning around our move to the US and opening up offices there is that we get to see more of our clients face to face. We get to do more events. So for us, it's really about building really strong relationships with our clients and ultimately making sure that in the long run, they're doing really well with their crypto bags.
Lester Mina. Welcome back, Lester. I see you over there, Lester. Jim and his team at Caleb Brown are amazing. Thanks. Let's see. Next.
I've got a question here, which is a fair one as well from Tim that says, how can it be free? Where do they get their revenue from? So I think he's talking about our custody solution. It's a very fair question, Tim. Look, we only charge one flat fee. Again, that's another, you'll start to sense a common theme here around that we do things quite differently because there are a lot of standards and norms in the crypto space that we don't really think is fair on the customer and fair on the client. So for us, the way that we earn our revenue is just anytime a client trades. So if you make a buy, if you sell out of your crypto or you swap in between crypto, we'll charge one flat transaction fee. And that's the only fee that we'll charge. Whereas again, unfortunately, on exchanges, and other platforms, you'll be charged hidden fees like spread, which is the difference between the price that you buy an asset at and the price you sell at. And that can be anywhere from 3, 4, 5%. You'll also be charged things like slippage. So if you move the market with a really big trade, they'll actually charge you a slippage fee for that. You'll also be charged things like withdrawal fees. So when it comes time to withdraw to your bank account, often you'll be charged a fee, or they might limit you to say $5,000, $10,000 a day. So for us, we just charge a flat transaction fee. And so what that means is that the custody, speaking to your broker, organizing a time to chat with them, getting educated with our free private materials, all of that is free because it's all encompassing of the transaction fee that we charge. So I hope that makes sense. Ultimately, our transaction fee is very competitive and usually in periods of volatility is the better rate that you'll get in the market, especially for altcoins. But that's how we earn our revenue.
And what about when here's one of the things that I learned about Caleb Brown in the beginning that I liked. Now, I noticed on exchanges when I wanted to buy a crypto, sometimes the price was a little higher than like what CoinGecko had or Coin Market Cap. I always noticed on exchanges, I'm buying at a price that might be just a little bit higher than what the it says. And then every time I go to sell, it's like they I don't get back what I'm supposed to get. Like if it's 18 cents and I go to sell it, I get 17 and a half cents a piece and not 18. And then when I go to buy it, let's say it's $1, they're charging me like $1.02 or something. Jim, why is that?
So that's the spread. So that's what I was just mentioning before. And it's really hard to see because as Hulk said, you're not going to know unless you have a tab open, which is the price that I can buy the asset at, and the price that I can sell at. And so usually, as Hulk mentioned, let's just say I want to sell XRP or I want to buy XRP. I may go into one of these exchanges and the price that they're quoting me is say 260. And then immediately, let's say I buy it for 260. Then a second later, I open up another tab, go to the same exchange and look to sell it. That may be, the price may be not 260, it might be 250. That 10%, that 10-cent difference is the spread they'll charge. And so these exchanges are making the money based off that spread. Now, the scary thing about this is, let's just say it's a peak bull run. Everyone's going onto this exchange to buy XRP. They'll actually widen that spread even more because they know the demand is there. So these are the little intricacies that you won't realize unless you're on top of it. For us, you don't need to stress. We're just going to charge you the best price that we can get in the market, but there's going to be no spread on it. So the price that you see with us is the price that you will get at the best rate in the market. And then if you go to sell that a second later, you'll be able to sell it at that same price or however quickly the market's moved a little bit. So again, something that is quite hidden and not readily transparent. But with us, we're the exact opposite. When you go to make a buy or a sell or a swap, you'll see exactly what the fees that we're charging you. We'll say, hey, Crypto Hulk, we're charging X%, and this is the fee that it is. And that's the only fee that you'll ever have to worry about.
What I liked also about Caleb Brown is when they explained it to me, when I went on their website and then I talked to Jim and stuff. I like the fact when I put in a buy order, they have a whole bunch of liquidity providers and they find the lowest price. When they buy it from me, it's like they're my personal broker. They find the cheapest price when they buy it. Now, when they sell it, they try to find the highest price, the person that's willing to pay the most, to sell it off there. And if I have a whole bunch, then they'll trade slice it out so I don't get gouged with fees and stuff. So that they do all these things, and they have one way of charging you is when you buy, sell, swap, or whatever trade, whatever kind of stuff. It's the same price. It's the same percentage, but they do like all these different things. So that's one of the reasons that really impressed me about this company. When I was kind of uncertain, I was learning about it over the 4 or 5 weeks. I listened to you guys, and it's like, Crypto Hulk, I can call this guy up. He's my personal broker and ask him questions. And I'm like, whoa, this is a pretty cool business they got running here. Because I've never heard of any time I could go to Coinbase and pick up the phone and call a damn broker. That shit don't happen. So just the longer I kept hearing from all you guys about Caleb Brown, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm joining this company because everybody seems happy with it. So the difference was I didn't join the company and try to get you people to join. I did it the opposite. I had you guys join first. And if you like them, then I would join and become partners with them in this crypto. So that's kind of an interesting way of doing that. I mean, Jim, have you ever heard that before? Have you ever had any clients where the fans or the followers join first and the guy running the show joins later? Have you ever seen that?
I've seen it a few times. Look, for a lot of our partners, they're actually they are already clients of ours. So often at times, if we partner with someone, they've already used the service, so they understand it themselves. We've certainly had some partners over the journey want to see what the reviews are like online and even ask some of their customers or community members whether they've used the service before. Ultimately, for us, word of mouth was a key reason that we grew back in the day. A lot of people just love the service. As you said, there's something almost like high status with having your own broker, and a few people would be bragging about that to their friends, and then all of a sudden the friends want their own crypto broker as well. So we've grown quite organically in that way. But certainly through some of our partners, look, a lot of them are either seeing their community use the service already and have heard about us and then reached out, or often they'll use the service themselves first and then start promoting it with their community. So yeah, remember we had a pretty long process of talking about it. If it gives anyone peace of mind on this call, Hulk did an incredible amount of due diligence on us, which is great. And honestly, for anyone that's on this call, do your due diligence on us, because look, there are so many instances over the years where crypto companies have gone bust or they've promised something and it hasn't been quite true or real. So for us, we're more than happy for you to do your due diligence. If you've got questions like today or even after this live stream, reach out to us. We're always happy to answer any questions because we think that's an important part of the process. And so, yeah, we're more than happy to be a key partnership in this community.
I looked on the Kalen Brown website and it said something like, how many people work at Kalen Brown? Like 90 or something?
Yeah, so there's about 70, 75 or so. And then obviously with SwiftX, who's our parent company, we have a lot of them in our office now as well. Together, we're close to probably 200-person business.
But I looked on the website for Kalen Brown. It says something like 78 happy employees, right? Did you ever see? Are you aware of that? It says it on your website.
What does it say? Sorry, I missed that.
There's like, I think it said something like 80 happy employees or something like that. And I'm like,
Yeah, I think it was 65 plus at the time. Yeah,
65.
look, you can again, something that's quite unique about our business is you can go on our website and you can see every single person that works in the team. You'll see a photo of us. It'll
Oh,
have a
yeah.
link to our LinkedIn. So you can see that we're real people. Like you can come on there, go to the Meet the Team section. You can see who our CEO is. You could see my face there and connect into my LinkedIn. So look, for us, we've got nothing to hide. We're a very transparent business. Everyone that works at Calvin Brown is super passionate about crypto, which makes this workplace an amazing place to work. And I think that then flows into what we do with our clients because, look, we're all personal investors and passionate about this space as well. And so we want to help other people, achieve their goals when it comes to investing in crypto.
Ron Weber, Hulk, Canton coin broke. Looks like 18 cents. Caleb Brown, hold all my Canton. So thank you, Ron, for letting us know that. But again, you guys, look, man, all this price stuff is just speculation right now. And that's where this 1099 tax form, we're moving in to non-speculation. Like right now, I told you, I don't care if XRP goes to $20 or because it'll go back down to $3 the next day. Like none of these prices matter. So it's kind of like it's fun to see it, but then what happens the next day when Canton coins at 5 cents, right? So a bunch of people sell off, and so it's just it doesn't really matter. But if you're happy about it, that's great. It's just I need real world use case. So I guess bring on the 1099s, and then let's bring on the 20 to because when everything gets legitimate, then we don't have this up down crap. You know what we got? Up, 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 up. That's what happens. Real world adoption. Institutions come in, dump trillions of dollars. That's what I'm looking for. Not looking for a $2 or $20 XRP. I'm looking for much more than that. Let's see.
We've got a bunch of questions here. Do you want me to just start answering some of
Yeah.
these?
Yeah.
Okay. So someone asked, okay, so the transaction fee is 3.5%. Is that high? It's actually very competitive, if not better than what you'll get in the market when you factor in for those hidden costs. So just something to be aware of is yes, exchanges charge transaction fees as well. It'll be a lot lower than 3.5%. Usually it might be 0.5, or sometimes even less than that. But again, what you're actually then being charged is that spread that we mentioned before. If you've just joined and you've joined late, go back because earlier in the show we talked about spreads and what they mean and how they work. But ultimately, a lot of the time, those spreads are at least 2, 3, 4% anyway. And then that's not factoring in things like withdrawal fees as well. So look, we think for the 3.5%, the overall entire service you get from the custody, from your personalized broker, from the way that we get you the best price through liquidity, through the security mechanisms we have in place, we think that's actually a pretty fair fee, all inclusive. But also, look, if you're looking to trade at really large sizes, that fee can be negotiable with the broker. We don't want to be hard and fast on that 3.5% default fee, but ultimately we'll need to be trading at volume to have those discussions. But again, it's completely up to you with whether you think that 3.5% fee is fair and good value. I personally think it is good value and it's valuable to have that peace of mind and have someone that you can speak to. So that's a little bit of an explainer on the fee and how that works. Let's see what other questions we've got. Okay, so Tim asks, when you move crypto on your site, do you get your own wallet address? So the answer is yes. So let's just say, we list over 250 assets. So every asset that we list as Caleb and Brown, you'll have a wallet address for that asset. So if you want to move, say, HBAR to your Caleb and Brown account, you can come into the deposit crypto section of your Caleb and Brown account, and you can select HBAR. And then what will appear is your wallet address with the HBAR wallet address for you to send new crypto to. Now, we handle all the private keys and the sharding of those private keys and essentially ensure that those wallets are protected. So whilst you have public wallet addresses, you don't need to worry about the private keys or the private addresses for those wallets. Again, that's getting a bit more technical in terms of how we do custody with those addresses. Happy to explain that in more detail if people want me to. But ultimately, that's where you don't need to deal with the stress of protecting those private keys. We handle all of that for you and ensure that that's protected. But ultimately, look, at the end of the day, no assets are moved until you authorize us to again. So you're the owner of those assets. So Josh has a question. How will Caleb and Brown be with the uncertainty with the Australian government? So look, Josh, and I do get this question a lot from our US residents. I am just going to be as frank about this as possible. I wouldn't say there is any concern or uncertainty with the Australian government. We live in a democratic society here. I have had questions before about would the government seize Caleb and Brown's assets? In no circumstance would that ever happen. The government here is actually very pro crypto. We are very much lagging behind, like the rest of the world, in terms of getting legislation in place. But if you actually look at cryptocurrency ownership, Australia is one of the largest in the world. So I'm not sure what you mean by the uncertainty with the Australian government. There's certainly no issues on our end in terms of how we operate. In fact, we're one of the biggest, if not the best, along with SwiftX, in terms of working with the Australian government and making sure that any legislation that comes into effect is actually pro-crypto and helps us with our growth and support of people on the Australian client side. So that's on the Australian side. However, I want to stress that as US citizens, you actually fall under our US business. So we have an Australian entity. We also have a US entity. If you're a US citizen, you fall under our US entity, which means you have all the rights and obligations as a US citizen, and you are effectively operating and working with a US business, not an Australian business. It's just that our headquarters is based here in Australia. So I hope that answers the question. If you've got a bit more detail on what you mean by uncertainty, I'm happy to dive into that. But again, there's no concern with that. Yeah, Australia, if you haven't been, is a very similar country and has very similar views and values to the Americans. So I think Stu Lavelle can probably back me up on that. But yeah, there's no cause for concern there.
Joshua, Joshua, thank you very much for the donation. How will Caleb and Brown be with the uncertainty? Oh, you already read that one. Okay, with the Australian government. All right. Let's see. What's the process of changing? Oh, God. Your account from a personal to a business. So, what do you have to do?
Yeah, so you can't change from a personal to a business. You can add a business account to your existing account. So if you're someone that has an individual account with Calvin Brown, which would just be you working with us in your individual capacity, you have the ability to also add further accounts. So on your Calvin Brown account, when you log in, you'll see on the top right that'll have your initials. If you click on that, there'll be an option to add a second account. You click on that and then you select the entity types because we can allow for clients to onboard both companies but also trusts. So in this scenario, if you wanted to onboard your LLC, you'd select company and then you'd provide all the business documentation that we would require to onboard that LLC. So it's a notarized operating agreement. We usually need your EIN number as well. But once you provide that documentation, you'll then have an LLC account set up within that same login. So it's beneficial for you so you don't have two separate logins with different emails and passwords. But when you log into your account, you can toggle between the two accounts and they're completely separate. So you'll have different holdings, you'll have a different dashboard view. you'll also have different wallet addresses depending on if you're a personal account or an LLC account. So, yeah, that's how it works. Again, if you're not 100% sure on how to do all of that, please feel free to reach out to your broker and they can provide you with a support article to get started.
Okay. I'm late to the show. Excuse me, somebody by the name of Drac XRP, they're talking about getting the T-Rise token. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. T-Rise is working with Canton. They already looked it up. The liquidity was way too small or something like that. And T-Rise will have to mature as a company a little more, and then they can probably take a look again at it. So that is your answer to your question with that one. Hey, Jim, having an LLC with you, does it keep my personal name invisible? Thank you.
It depends what you mean by invisible. As I just mentioned before, a lot of the time, people add in a second entity account to their already existing individual account. So if you're doing that, we already know that your individual account, we already have the details for that. If you're just creating an account with Calvin Brown and onboarding your LLC, a lot of the time that won't have your individual name on it. But again, a lot of the documentation that you have to provide to us will detail out who are the directors of the LLC. So by nature of the documentation you have to provide, I'm not sure if you're asking whether we won't know or the IRS, but in the circumstance of Calvin Brown, we would know who the directors are of that business. Again, we need to know that for us to authorize and approve of the transactions and allow you to actually work with us through your LLC. So I guess I would say it's the name's not invisible then in that scenario.
Can I connect my crypto in Calvin Brown to my Coinly tax account?
Great question. So at this stage, we don't have the integration with Coinly. We do have an integration with Crypto Tax Calculator, which is a very similar business and similar service to what Coinly does. What we can do is we can provide you with all the documentation that you need to send through to Coinly and essentially sync that up. So that in terms of the transaction reports and summary reports, you can download all of that yourself on your Calvin Brown account and then link that up to your Coinly account. So hopefully we'll have more integrations with tax software in the future. We know that we have a lot of clients that work with tax accountants that are doing their tax reporting for crypto and want to have that integration. So we're hoping to make that process more seamless in the future. But any information in relation to your transactions with us that you need to pass on to your tax accountant, you can do so. You can just download those files in your Calvin Brown account.
Now, this person has a question. Money needs to be sent to your account under your name. Does crypto have to be your wallet, or can someone else send crypto to your account?
Yeah, it's a great question. As you said, if you're looking to on-ramp, and because that's using bank accounts, it's important that the name you use matches up with your name on our account. But however, if you're moving crypto, that's fine if you're moving crypto from someone else's wallet or if someone else is moving crypto into yours. We usually don't recommend doing that, both for you and for them. But ultimately, the wallet address that you have with us in terms of your Calvin Brown wallets, if you sent that to someone else and they sent crypto from their wallet to that wallet address, that would work. So yeah, that would work.
So everybody check it out. So Cable Guy has a statement. It says, Mark, it sounds like the IRS will know it all. So check this out. So we're moving from an immature, right now, we are an immature crypto space. It's all speculation. It's smoke and mirrors. It's gambling. It's bullshit. Okay. Again, I have to repeat myself. If you want this crypto to end up making you rich, you're not going to be like this and not somehow, okay, where like when Bitcoin started in 2009, you could trade these old Bitcoins and like supposedly nobody knows and everything. But what we're doing is we're moving, crypto's moving out of the shadows. I already told you already, and it's going to get into regulation to where it becomes like buying stocks and bonds. So that those days are over. So you can stay with the cryptos like right now, ain't doing nothing. Nobody's getting rich or whatever. But in order to move into mainstream, in order for trillions and quadrillions of dollars to go into crypto, it's not going to be like this. Oh, I want to join Caleb Brown. I don't want anybody to know I got my, like, you're living in planet Uranus. Okay. So you just have to understand what you're getting into, and you're getting into the global financial system. What do you think crypto is? It's on a ledger. You know what that means? Everybody can see it. You know what that means? The government's going to regulate it. You're going to have to register all your wallets one day. I mean, it's going to get like that. You have to understand this is not done in secret. I don't know where you're getting this at, but if this is going to make me rich, it's got to get regulated. There is no way you're going to make millions of dollars. No one's going to know. I don't know where you're seeing that or getting that idea, but you need to get that out of your head.
Yeah, it's just as Hulk said, you got to take the good with the bad, and and this isn't necessarily bad. It's just if we want the largest banks in the world, if we want innovation in this space has to become more mature, and part of that is how the IRS and how these reporting structures work. And as I said, this isn't a business decision. We know how many of our clients would rather we don't do this. But for us to continue to legally operate, we have to. So this isn't a scenario where we've made this decision. It's literally every US digital asset business will be required to do this moving forward. So it's annoying, it's unfortunate, but we're not in the days of 2016 anymore where everything's hidden on a blockchain. The IRS knows what's going on in this space. They want to understand what people are doing. And ultimately, if Trump didn't want this, he'd push back against this, but he hasn't. So this is the way of the world and the way it is right now. So unfortunately, that's the way things are going. But again, there is still so much benefit and so much good to come out of these new legislation and the increased focus on crypto. So much of it is so great for this space and has so much upside for us as investors in the future. But sometimes to get that upside, we have to have better reporting and better structures in place as well.
Any chance? Okay, someone's asking an Anderson advisor question. What I don't know. What you should do is call up Anderson Advisors. Somebody wants to know if there's any kind of LLC that Anderson Advisors could, whatever. That's a question you should call up the law firm. So look below my channel, find the Crypto Hulk law firm link, click, and just call them up and ask them, because that's something I don't know. Daniel wants to know, are your accounts safe from DUST attacks? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, dust attacks essentially where people, and I still sometimes marvel at the fact that this actually works, but someone will send you, say, a little bit of Ethereum, and it will look almost identical to your wallet. So let's just say, my wallet ends in ABCD. What they'll do is they'll create a wallet, or they'll have a wallet that has the same last four digits. The wallet is obviously very different, but they'll actually send you a little bit of Ethereum, or in this example, let's use Ethereum. And then what a lot of people end up doing, because they're usually in a rush and they're doing things, and this is usually on a hot wallet, when they go to then transfer their crypto out, they'll just pull the wallet address from that last transaction, thinking that it's their wallet. But in fact, it was just the last four digits make it look like it's their wallet. And then they'll ultimately get the money because you've sent it to them. It's quite a sophisticated hack. In terms of, are we affected by that? Absolutely not, because of the way that we do things internally, the way that funds are processed out. With Caleb and Brown, you actually need to verify your wallet address. So it's not like we will be as susceptible to a dust attack. If anything, it's more so if we then send the funds back to you, you just need to be careful that you're actually pulling the wallet address that you have on file. So for us, there's no issues because of the way in which you have to verify that wallet. And then once it's verified with Caleb Brown, that's the wallet we have on file. So we're not going to pull a wallet address from anywhere else. Unlike, say, if you're doing it yourself, you may just pull it from your transaction list. With us, we only will ever send to a wallet that you've verified. And that's even after we've done this verification check. So if it's a large withdrawal, I'm not sure who asked the question, but our process is we'll actually call you. We'll verify that it's you. So we'll ask you security questions. We'll verify the wallet we have on file that it's yours before we even send anything out. So again, that's another reason to use our custody over doing it yourself, is that you won't be susceptible for things like dust attacks.
Somebody wants to know, is there a minimum amount of crypto? Like if I wanted to pull $10 of crypto out of my Caleb Brown account and send it to Coinbase, would I be able to send $10 from Caleb Brown of XRP and send it to Coinbase? Or is there a minimum or a maximum or something? Or
Yeah, so with transfers, there's no minimums at all. So if you wanted to move $5 from Caleb Brown to Coinbase, or you wanted to move $4 of XRP from Coinbase to Caleb Brown, that's no issues at all, and you can do that, and we won't charge you a fee for that. We do, excuse me, have a minimum trade size. So let's just say you move those assets to Caleb Brown, you need to have $500 worth to make a trade. But other than that, transfers, there's no minimums.
okay. Let's see here. Jim, oh my God. I'm going to delete a comment. What is the name? What is the max? Okay, this is a great question right here. I think you should really kind of explain. Here's another benefit of Caleb Brown. John Follett just asked the question, and this is a great, great question. What is the maximum transfer per day?
The maximum transfer. So there's no maximum transfer. So look, we'll process withdrawals as they come through. There's no minimum or maximum on those withdrawals. So let's just say you wanted to move out $1 million into your bank account. We can process that and we won't split it out. And we'll do it all in one go without fees. So that's something that's, again, really valuable for our clients. And that's why a lot of high net worth people use our service, because if they're moving $1 million worth of crypto either to their wallet, or maybe they've sold into US dollars and want into their bank account, if they try and do that on exchange, they may be limited to, say, $20,000 a day, and they'll also be charged a fee every time they do that. So we won't do that. We'll process it all in one go. Now, we are a little susceptible when it comes to if you're trying to do multiple withdrawals in a day, because again, we want to verify that it's you. And we usually find if people are processing a whole range of different withdrawals all in one go, that's usually where there's some red flags appear, and that usually someone might be compromised. So we will take our time when it comes to processing the withdrawal. Again, not in terms of how long it takes, but more so that we want to 100% make sure it's you. But in terms of the amounts, I mean, you can withdraw anything that you want all in one go, and there'll be no limits on that.
So here's one of the reasons why I think the Caleb Brown is pretty cool is because so I'm in America, so I can technically contact somebody during business hours on the phone in Florida. And if it's after hours, then I got Australian hours. So probably about 16 hours a day, I'm probably able to get a hold of somebody. XRP hits $1,000 a coin. I've got now $10 million or whatever, let's say. See, here's the difference with Caleb Brown and some other plays. So I look at my crypto wallet on Caleb Brown. I'm like, oh gosh, I got 10 million bucks in there. So I call up my broker in the Australia or whatever and say, hey, I want to put in an order to sell it all right now. So they verify it, make sure everything is I'm who I am and this and that. And then they just put it in and it's like it's done. I don't have to take out 20,000 a day for the next 300 days to get my money. So this is another benefit when you have Caleb Brown, it's they have a flat fee and you get like 15, 20 different benefits. This is one of them. Because what if you're in the crypto, let's say something real awesome like Peppy, okay? So you're in Pepe and you thought it was a bullshit coin, which it is, and the little meme sucker goes up to $10 million, and you're like, what? So you want to get out of Pepe as quick as you can, right? Before it deflates into zero. If you're at Kalen Brown, you just put in a call order. You get on your phone and text your broker through the app or whatever it is. You go to your email, tell your broker to sell Pepe right now, and they put in that order like immediately. So on an exchange, what if it gets all jammed up, right? You can't get on because 10 million people are trying to get in there and get out of Pepe. Plus, they won't let you sell it all at once anyway. It's going to take you 5 weeks to get all your money. And then they charge you for every single time you go to sell out. So this is what I'm talking about. It's Kalen Brown has very simple. You get charged a flat fee. That's it, percentage on a buy, sell, swap, whatever. And they got people there that can liquidate your account immediately once they verify. They can put in a sell order and like, yeah. Now, how would that work? Let's say, Jim, it's the middle of the night. All the banks are closed. I put in a sell order. 8 hours later, you guys open up, or the bank opens up. My trade's already been executed. We're just waiting for the bank, so it's not going to be a deal where, guess what, Crypto Hulk? From the time you put in your sell order to right now, Pepe went to zero. You're out of luck. Kind of explain how you guys work with that.
Yeah, so like in that example, say Pepe does really well and you want to sell out of it. You can just sell out of that whenever you want with us. Again, we're a 24/7 business. This market is 24/7, so it's not like the banks or the equity markets where it closes for the weekend. So let's just say it's a Saturday night and Pepe does really well and you want to sell out of that position. You can sell out of that position with us into US dollars. So a lot of the time when clients are ready to withdraw to a bank account, there's no point selling from Pepe into USDC and then into US dollars. You can just sell straight into the fiat currency. So in that scenario, you would sell into US dollars. And then, as you said, we can process the withdrawal on our end, do all the approvals, make sure it's you, make sure it's legitimate. But then ultimately it'll be up to the banks to process it into your account. And as you said, look, if it's a weekend, a lot of the time the banks aren't operating. So that'll be something that you'll need to wait a few days for the banks to then process. But ultimately, how it works on our end is we have banking partnerships all around the world. But yeah, most specifically, we work really closely with our US banks. And then they would work domestically with yours to make sure that that process gets done quite quickly. So I would say the turnaround's pretty quick. But in that scenario that you mentioned, it's not like you'd still have the exposure to Pepe. You can sell out of the Pepe whenever you want. It's just more so that if it's a weekend, the banks aren't going to process that withdrawal. We'll put it in to be processed, but you'll have to wait till it's a business day within a bank for it to actually hit your bank account. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I think
I've got a question. Yeah, sorry, I've just got one more question I thought I'd answer. So Benny Coins asked, Hull, can you please ask the top 5 reasons why letting, you're saying why letting him, but letting Caleb and Brown custody my XRP is more beneficial than me simply holding it in a cold storage wallet. So look, I don't really have 5 reasons for you. What I would say is that I'm certainly not going to sit here and say one's better than the other, but it's really important to have diversity in your custody solution. So Ben, as I said before, myself, I hold a significant portion with Calvin Brown. I also still to hold quite a big portion of my net worth on my own hardware wallet. The key difference though is that if you're traveling, you're probably not going to take your hardware wallet with you. And this has happened to me before where I held a bunch of USDC on a hardware wallet. I went overseas. This was when USDC started to depeg and I had no access to be able to trade out of that. That is very common for a lot of our clients that have exposure to crypto, but want to make quick and fast trades. So for them, that's beautiful if they go overseas because they still have the benefit of cold storage custody. They can still email their broker to get a trade done. They can log into their Calvin Brown account and execute the trade. And they don't need to worry about taking their hardware wallet with them overseas. So that's a really important one. The other important one that we've seen, unfortunately, with a number of our clients is that one of our clients, as an example, had his hardware wallet in his home. His home burnt down. Now, he was operating under very good OPSEC discipline. He had his private keys in a bank vault, but unfortunately, that bank also burnt down. This was during the LA fires. and all of a sudden now he's lost those funds. They're completely lost to the world. So it's never 100% certainty that you're safe with your own hardware wallet, which is why it's valuable to have other options. So again, I'm not sitting here saying one's better than the other. Yes, our custody solution works a lot with institutions, whereas if you're just using, say, a ledger, most of the time that's retail. And we've seen with some of these hardware wallet companies like Ledger that they have a lot of data leaks and issues go wrong with them. So I just think it's really valuable to have both options. And then it's completely up to you what you hold where. But I would say they're probably sort of the two main reasons outside of all the other Fireblocks benefits that we've listed throughout this show. So if you've just joined now, highly recommend that you go back. But yeah, it's certainly beneficial to at least look into it and look into Fireblocks as well.
Okay, we got our 1 hour show done, and I think we've answered pretty much every single question. Some people are just straggling in, but we go. I like to keep the show 5 to 6, and well, you'll always be here another week, and I think so. That'll about do it. Thank you very much, Jim, for showing up. Everybody appreciates it. Brand new people, maybe a couple weeks from now, we'll do this again. If you have questions about anything crypto, custody, buying, selling, what the hell's Caleb Brown, whatever it is, this is the time. Any parting words, Jim, or are you done too?
No, all I would say is that I've just put my email in the chat here. Please feel free to reach out if you've got any further questions. As I said, this is one of our most valued communities. I work really closely with Hulk and with a lot of you, so please feel free to reach out if I can help out in any way. As I said, or as Hulk said, we do this every 2 weeks, so please put it in your calendar. We'd love for you to come to the next one. We'll try and speak about the markets as well as we do this, but look, it's great to answer the questions that you all have. And hopefully, if you're someone that's new here, please feel free to use Hulk's link and sign up. We'd love to have you as a client. And yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
All right. See you, everybody. I'm out of here.